parasocial relationships. You didn't know that word before yesterday.
I did not.
That's crazy. I don't know how you didn't know that. Like, how have I not brought this up to you?
I don't know, but I feel like it is your job and responsibility to keep me in the know-how. This is a pretty important thing.
I know. I don't know. How did...
Especially since we talk about some of this.
Okay, I think it's because we bring up social media a lot. And you're always like, okay, maybe let's not tie this back to social media. And so I just don't bring up some of the stuff, you know?
Right. Like maybe that's partly it, but there's also a lot of literature out there on it. So how it has not, captured my thing, especially with a lot of the attachment work that I do, and relationship, and then also thinking about child development and how people learn and identity formation and all of those things, that's sort of in my wheelhouse. So yeah, somehow like the concept was not new to me. Yeah. I think it was just the actual...
How it's being used now?
Right. Like that they're like the parasocial relationships and how that's being used.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So interesting. So I'm I've already done a bit of a dive into some of that literature, and I'll do some more deeper dives.
Now she's interested, guys.
I'm interested.
She's got to know more.
Yes, because I'm very interested in what influences young people in both the positive ways to help them grow and develop into the amazing young people, and young adults that they become, but then also what are their potential adverse influences. And so...
But in our research that we did all of 5 minutes ago, we
discussed it.
We discussed it. Okay. This term started back in the 1950s?
Yes.
So this has been affecting people for many generations.
Yes. I mean, and that makes sense because the researchers were interested in how people were connecting with the characters on the television show or the stars on the show and what have you, which makes sense, right? So we had a lot of researchers looking at the influence on children's social behavior, right? So Albert Bandura and social learning theory and all of that. So we very much knew that. But the actual how individuals perceive themselves, in relationships with the characters, that is a different aspect of thinking that I'd not yet explored from a literature point of view. Okay. So yeah. Were you surprised that had actually been termed that long ago? I mean, think about this. Your Mimi was, 3-4 years old when that came out.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm necessarily surprised. That's not how we see it used nowadays.
Well, I mean, because I think when you talk about what television would have been the term I would use, and maybe movies, because those were the two primary formats we had, which is you went to the theater for the movies. And then in the 50s, we saw a lot more, and maybe even before that, I don't know my history of electronics, but televisions became more popular and were more accessible to most homes when before they had radio. So this may have even extended to radio personalities at that time too. But yeah.
Yeah. So
very different than I think what they had then, what I had access to in the form of television as a child and growing up into my teen when you think of those formative identity years. And then certainly what you all have had access to, right? When I was developing, my younger teens, we had 13 basic channels, right? Which was way more than 3, right?
Cable's
3.
not really a thing anymore.
And then cable became, and then we had a lot more access when I was an older teenager. And
now we've got streaming platforms and we've got social media.
It's a lot.
There is still a little bit of cable out there, but I don't think many people have it. Right. I don't know. Not many people I know have it.
It did take quite a while to get your dad to move away from that.
It did.
It did.
It did.
But but that is one of those things to keep in mind is how people
It's so interesting thinking about how now we pick what we want to watch when we want to watch it. And before, like, you had to see what was on and you had to watch commercials.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
that's crazy.
You structured your day around certain things, So for instance, in college, I don't know why this is a thing, but in college, somehow at some point, 12 o'clock, Days of Our Lives, everybody was just sort of like meeting in the bun room. That's what we called sort of the group living space. And I mean, there would just be, and not just the people that lived in that space, like a lot of people would just come over and you might have like 20, 30 people sitting in the bun room watching Days of Our Lives because it was getting real. Like there was a real story. So
interesting.
Yeah. But no, like you knew Thursdays at 7 p.m. that was when Friends came on. And I mean, you watched those in live time. Or you had to wait for the reruns.
Yeah.
You couldn't, and then when
now you still know when they come out. Like,
yeah, but they don't drop all at once. Like, you had to wait an entire week.
Oh, not all episodes drop all at once anymore.
That's true.
You know how, like, with Bridgerton, they break it up half and half?
Yes.
Some series, they drop every Wednesday, every Thursday.
Yeah. Like, it builds anticipation. You look forward to it with those things. But you, like I said, you didn't get to watch the reruns. Mm-hmm. It's not like that it was available on the internet. Like, I think you could probably find most things if you, like, before streaming.
You couldn't skip the commercials.
No, we couldn't, which is why commercials became louder, because that's when you got up and you went to grab something from the kitchen or you used the restroom or you returned a call or something, which the phone was attached to the wall.
Let me tell you about Disney Channel commercials. They were all of like 30 seconds long. Mm. So you got up and you ran to the bathroom and hoped you make it back before.
You made it back. Right. And so I remember, I don't even think this is a thing anymore, but it was so, when you guys were young, like 2-3 years old, like it never failed. We'd watch a show, your dad and I, and like he likes his shows like NCIS or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, you guys would be good all the way through it. Be playing. We'd have you engage or do something. And then the last like 3 to 5 minutes, it was a meltdown. So, like you had to stop, you had to get up, but you don't get to see the show again. Like you just miss it. And so you'd watch the entire time. So there was this thing that came out called TiVo where you could like pause and rewind.
I wonder if it's still out there.
I don't know, but
we had that.
We
did
years. For years.
You had to record your shows.
Yes. Well, okay. So that was a thing when I was a teenager. The VCR recorders. Right. So if you missed, you could.
But then you had to put it on like a tape. Yes.
Yes. So Mimi, always Young and the Restless, always recorded it. So then she could watch it when she came home. And then you just could re-record over the same tape and this and that. But, that they were big and clunky, but very dedicated and very expensive.
Okay, this isn't about TV, guys.
Yes, this is not. But if you think about it, these are all the ways that we had to access the celebrities and the characters that we were watching. Mm-hmm. And so it was much more difficult. Mm-hmm. I think that's what that is all about, is we either had to make time. There was a lot of space in between the episodes. So you had a week off before you saw them again. You watched it and you went on about your day.
And now social media, you watch it, you scroll 2 videos and you got it again.
It's always there.
And it's every day.
Well, and it's not, before it was all about celebrities. Mm-hmm. And that was probably when maybe reality television was coming out a little bit more. It wasn't as huge. So we had more of the movie stars or the TV stars, right? That's who was in People magazine.
We don't have those anymore.
I know, but they were like, that's who was in our Teen Beat. I saw somebody in Sam's Club today and we actually talked about, like, that came up, like Teen Beat, like who was in your thing. You know, I grew up with, the celebrities were the Rat Pack and, think about Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire and some of those. Like, that's...
Our celebrities are really just influencers.
Yes.
And they're putting influencers in movies and TV shows now. And it grows the influencers to the point of celebrity status, but that doesn't really change the fact that they're influencers,
Right. So, and I see that, like, even reality TV, some of the,
I don't like reality
Bachelor,
TV.
I don't either. I've never gotten into it. Like some people like The Bachelor. I'm like,
no, thank you.
How do you, like, what about your self-esteem? Like, they were just smacking on some other chick and you want them to kiss you? Like, I don't, like, there's so many things we could unpackage with that. That's a whole different episode. But I would, okay, there were a couple of reality television, like Survivor when it first started out. And, I think there were some, The Biggest Loser when it first started coming out. So some of those were coming out and people tuned in. But some people really love the reality television. I don't understand it. But see, I want even when I read, like I do a lot of reading.
I don't want it to seem real at all.
I don't. I want my fiction. I want to just escape into a different world.
Well, how would that even occur?
Yes. And sometimes I just need things tied up very neatly.
In a bow.
In a bow at the end of the season, or into that episode, like Criminal Minds.
End of the session.
Yeah. In Criminal Minds, in 1 hour, we got all the things. We're going to find the bad person. And
we start with the blood and the gore, and then we move on to the what's going on.
And the whole psychological back-end story, right?
Yes.
Like, why did they do what they did?
We get through the entire process, and then boom, in cuffs.
Yes.
Happy ending.
Most of the time. And you know what? Thinking about that now that we just said this, I tend to lose patience with different shows that go on forever. Like, I'm trying to, there was one show, The Mentalist, the whole Red John thing. After a while, like it just got way
back to parasocial relationships. Yes. Okay. Okay, so we were talking about how, like, the viewer is the parasocial one. First of all, parasocial relationships. One person is more invested in the relationship than the other. Well, they give all of the attention there. It's a one-sided relationship.
That's what makes it different, right?
Yes.
Because the other person doesn't even know you exist.
Yes.
Like, they may know, in general, I have an audience or fan base of X number of people, but they don't know you, Victoria, may be fangirling them.
No. I would not say that I have any parasocial relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's just too deep for me. There's too much effort there.
Well, as you're talking about that, I think that there's different levels, according to what I was reading, right? Which is this parasocial interaction, meaning you're seeing it. Okay, I'm invested. I want to know more about this during this time. But then I'm not thinking about it in between. So that's a parasocial interaction. Like I can be curious. I can really appreciate someone's art or what they tend to do. Like I have some favorite go-to musicians or, like there's going to be some celebrities if they're in a movie or show, then I usually want to check it out. But that's a parasocial interaction. I want to check it out because of the work that they're doing.
Not because you're besties with them.
No. I do not have any celebrity besties.
Damn.
Right?
You could.
I could say that we're besties.
Well, no. I don't think so.
I just can't go there, right? Like even if they start off like, hey besties, and then they start talking, I don't think they're talking to me. Like, is it a good, endearing greeting? Like, may I feel connected right away with them? I might like, hey bestie back, but I don't really think they're my bestie.
Yeah.
So you have the parasocial interaction and then the parasocial relationship where you don't move away from that in between. Like you're looking them up, you're checking what's coming out. There's real distress.
I never understand how people are so interested. Like when an influencer hasn't been on a couple days, people like start going to comments and being like, oh my God, they haven't been on.
Like,
are they doing okay? Like, what's going on with them? And I'm just like, you checked the last time that they posted?
And they're not doing it because, hey, they weren't okay the last time they posted. No. I'm worried about them.
A lot of times in parasocial relationships, they also feel like they deserve like the information about that person's life.
You know, and
like the influencer or celebrity or whatever doesn't get a right to their privacy because they are online. You know?
Right. Well, and as you just said that, I don't know why I hadn't made this connection before, but could you imagine what that would be like if people were checking in with the real people in their world? Like, hey, I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. Checking in. Haven't seen you in a week. Wanting to catch up. Like, with actual, real, reciprocal relationships.
That's crazy. My initial thought was they probably don't have those relationships.
Well, and this is one of the issues, right? That these, you know, and in these types of relationships, there can be some healthy aspects to them. Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll talk about some of that before we delve into the maybe some concerning aspects, which is sometimes these influencers, yes. There could be other words, but celebrities / influencers who really have certain things about themselves, whether it's part of their identity, that other people connect with. So especially when you're looking at teens who oftentimes feel isolated, marginalized, or what have you. And so they see this influencer and they're like, oh, they get me. Mm-hmm. Like that can be really helpful at times for somebody who is feeling isolated and maybe trying to make sense of the world, especially if that influencer is a positive role model.
Yes. Yes. Sorta.
Yeah, I see some skepticism there.
There's definitely that skepticism because you're talking about teens and their ideas of positive role models are vastly different than what could be true for a positive role model. And then also people values, morals, they're all different. So what's a positive role model to you?
Right.
Yes. Also, people follow people because they're not positive role models. Like, your life's insane and crazy. That's kind of sick. Let me follow you.
Because they want to be entertained or?
I don't know.
They just do. I mean, there are times where I'll follow a couple, well, probably a few, that I'm like, I'm not agreeing with what you're saying, like especially mental health professionals. Like, and yet you have a really large fan base, and I'm interested in understanding what you're saying because I want to understand it better, and I want to understand what other people are interested in, right? Because you, like you said, they're going to follow who they want to follow, whether they're giving out real, accurate information or what I would call sound, decision-based, clinically sound, ethically sound, but that's professional types of things.
Yeah.
Which is different. Maybe just like sound judgment. Like, because that's what you're saying. Like sometimes
yeah, okay.
Sound judgment does not get views and likes, do they?
No.
But then that makes me wonder, do you
want to hear about like one of the TikTokers who has the most crazy parasocial relationship with their viewers?
Oh, of course I want to hear it.
So there's this TikToker, her name's Tara's World, something like that. That's her username or whatever. She posts crazy shit. She's got a decent following, probably a couple million. Yeah. She gives story times about how she's an OF model, how she would party and do coke all the time. Got a lot of followings. Influencing others. She genuinely believes that her fans are her friends.
She believes some way. This?
It seems like that.
Or do you think they...
Let me tell you about what happened for New Year's. Basically, in the past, she couldn't find this top for some event, and so she asked her followers if any of them had it and would let her borrow it. And it went well the first time. The second time, she wanted this top for New Year's, And basically this one person was like, yeah, I have it. I can Uber it to you, whatever. Did not end up getting to her because she's a nurse and ended up getting called in for an overtime shift. And so it just didn't work out. And Tara dragged that person online. She was like, that's not a girl's girl. A friend wouldn't do that to someone. And it's like, that's your follower. That's not your friend. It also was like, people are being like, no, there was never an actual nurse. That was just Tara playing both sides for the drama. We don't know. But basically, yeah.
And see, that makes me wonder, especially a lot of these influencers and how you can sort of get big on social media is by saying more of these outlandish things, by scripting, right? Because scripting, even these little short reels, it's a business that many people are doing and so they look like they're these real snippets and they're not. And I think a lot of people realize this, but then sometimes I'm like, do they really realize this is not real?
I don't think so. Especially when this went on for like a week and a half, 2 weeks.
And so, okay,
This is also the girl who like could not pay her mortgage, who spent $5,000 on pit tickets for a concert, who like begged people to send brands to send her to a festival. Like
this Tara
chick.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you can have a lot of following, but that doesn't mean it's bringing in any income.
This
like,
is very true.
What are you doing?
This is very true.
People are following you to be entertained, but who's paying your bills, right? You're not getting a movie script from, I don't know, the current, I'm in the back of my day, it was like Warner Brothers or whatever. Like you're not getting paid to do these things, but you're building your your following. So that's a whole.
Well, no, a lot of influencers are getting paid to post.
So they're getting paid by different brands?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also TikTok does pay you if you have a certain amount of followers.
Right. And I think Facebook is starting to monetize and so forth. So there are opportunities.
That's a whole nother thing. But like that's like one of the biggest parasocial relationships from the opposite side of things.
Yeah. And see, and I just, like I said, I can have a parasocial interaction where, and I actually did this. I saw something and it was very funny. And people that know me know that I really like funny memes, like little reels that actually make me belly laugh, especially as I'm going throughout my day. So it was really funny. And I was like, this can't be too real, or maybe it was. But then, so I started following, but then I realized like all the posts were about it. And it was about a relationship with her ex who cheated. And I mean, there was some things that were done, like it involved some super glue and some other stuff. Like, yeah, it was, but then it was like, okay, you've been talking about this for a year. Like when I started seeing some of the others, I'm like, this is not real. Or if it was, then you're keeping it going. You're keeping a story. Like maybe it was based in truth at some point and got a few reels, might have been very like good to put it out there, but now all of your content is based off this one
But if it
thing.
works for you, you're gonna keep going. That's a whole nother thing.
And I guess, maybe, and so maybe this concept of influencers in social media, I don't know if there's any word besides influencer with it, like you get a large following, personality. Maybe social media personalities. Like before, back in my day, to become a movie star or a television star, it was very limited.
Talent.
You had to have talent. It was very limited. You were going to spend years as a starting, but now it's so accessible. So people who truly like to entertain, and that's part of their personality, like there's more options for them. So that could be a positive.
But they might not be getting the interactions that they need.
Yeah. So going back to how this can be positive, which is finding connection with other ways, being entertained, sometimes taking your mind off of some, so distraction can be helpful to a certain extent because it's taking your mind off of things. Like I tend to use it sometimes for distraction, like a quick break, or maybe not so quick if we're looking at how much I'm scrolling. Like I want to set limits more on that. intentionally.
Who
but
spent 15 hours on Facebook last week?
I don't know. That cannot be right. I don't.
It's okay.
Have
I
that.
spent 33 hours on TikTok.
I think there's some things about how it's open, we did travel, but anyway, I think that there can be some benefits that we're having these interactions. We see, so it can feel normalizing. Like it's not just my life. Other people are having some of these similar situations, sharing information, reducing stigma related to other things. So I absolutely think that there can be lots of benefits. And yet I do worry that it can have some adverse experiences too, especially when you're talking about really thinking you're in a relationship with this person or that they know you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
my favorite thing is like when people are like, oh my gosh, this celebrity liked my video or my TikTok or whatever. And it's like, they probably aren't even in charge of their social media. That they probably didn't even see that, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
But they did. They got it. So
it came from their account. So,
and you know what? Sometimes if it's the little things in life that
go for it. But the strengthening of the parasocial relationship there.
Yes. And then my thing is what's not happening in your life because of this.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is one of the biggest concerns in these parasocial relationships, especially for your generation, a little bit younger, right? Especially since COVID, which is that these one-sided relationships
are replacing
real
relationships.
Reciprocal relationships. And it's increasing the anxiety and depression. We know the longer people are on social media, the more that they have that. But what they do is they allow the perception that you're in a relationship, but you're not. And the reason why a lot of the younger generation, Gen Z specifically, is they're afraid of rejection.
I'm not.
You're like...
And maybe that's just something you grow out of.
Maybe it is something you grow out of, but then also sometimes it's about self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
It's about experiences. It's about knowing. I was watching. It was probably a Facebook video and it was a business executive, and they were actually talking about, I wanted to be told no as much as possible. Like you build some of that resilience to rejection. So you do that. Like I wanted to go on dates as much as possible and be told no, that they weren't the right person, or no, I'm not the right person. So that when I got to the relationship and met the right person, like I absolutely knew that. But sometimes it's getting a lot of no's, and a lot of no's in job interviews. This person was in sales, so getting a lot of no's in sales, because when you start to understand all the no's and all the reasoning for the no's, you get better at how to get the yeses, or how
also, the no is just a word.
And it doesn't mean that we're not a right fit. Exactly. If a date does not work out, okay, you learned more about yourself, about who you are and what you want. And the more experiences you have, the more you're getting to understand what it is you are wanting or looking for in relationships. But don't you think so many people are afraid of the no's?
Yeah, but like when you really think about it, if I said, will you pay for a trip to Paris just for me for shits and gigs?
No.
No, okay. What did that no do? How did that no affect my life?
Right? And you sort of you sort of knew what the answer was going to be.
Yeah.
But you're still going to put it out there.
Yeah, why not? Because maybe she'll say yes. Maybe she won't, but...
Oh, I think I just sent you
it's like the answer is going to be yes or no. No? Okay, move on. Right. Yes? Great, you got what you wanted.
But if people are tying things up, especially their identity and self-worth, and go, okay, but you must not like me because you said no.
There's something
wrong with me because you said no.
That's got nothing to do with it.
I'm not worth that cup of coffee that you just said, no, I can't, I'm not going to buy you coffee today, or whatever it is, right? Trip to Paris. Most people are like, yeah, you're not getting it. But, you know, there's some thinking behind some of this stuff.
Yeah, but like, just don't. Why are we thinking that deeply about it? It's a yes or a no, you know?
Right.
Like, yes, great. No, okay, whatever.
Right. But what about, you want to be my friend? You know, I think because that's what you're talking. You're up in the game.
I think that's
about
a completely different thing, though. Because do I want to be your friend? I don't really have a choice in that.
You're not my friend. You're my daughter.
Exactly.
That we're sort of friendly at times, and then we're sort of not at times.
Yeah.
And it's a mother-daughter relationship.
Yes. I don't know. I feel like if someone asked me if I want to be their friend, I'd probably say yes. Unless there was like a hard no.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That you're open to it until there's reasons not to be. And I think that's how you develop a lot of relationships. Like, you're open to the relationships until there's some signs.
I'd give you a shot for sure.
Yeah. So those reciprocal relationships and the inability to engage in your life, right? So if you are watching these influencers, spending time with them instead of time engaging, not this is what you're doing, you're checking in between downtimes types of things. But if you're actively like, no, I can't do this because, you know, I'm doing this, and you're not engaging with your real life and your real relationships, that's where that is also problematic.
And I think that's more of an extreme, but...
So you don't see that being as much of an issue for...
I don't hear that being as much of an issue. That, like, they're like, oh, I can't go do this because of this.
No. But I have heard, I've actually had situations where people have said they were going live at 2 a.m. their time, and so I'm staying up watching this, and then I'm tired, and it's impacting my school or work.
Well, yeah, but I think that's sort of like, oh, Taylor Swift's dropping a new album at 2 a.m. Like, I have to stay up and listen to it.
But that's one time. But you've got these influencers who are on every night at this time or whatever.
That's crazy.
I know. I'm like, can't you catch the replays? It's not the same. Well, and then that's the other thing that people get from this is it's not just what they would perceive as that one-sided relationship with that influencer or personality. It's the sense of community that they're getting with all the others who are gathering around that personality. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's how cultures sort of come about. Like, I'm thinking, and that's always been the case. I'm thinking like Jimmy Buffett Paraheads, you know, Taylor, you know, the Swifties, like personalities and entertainers, they can develop a fan base that they themselves take on as personalities. Mm-hmm. And seeing connectedness amongst those.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what people can take from it too, which is one of those benefits of that sense of belonging. You know, I'm this. And that can be healthy and feel good. That's a basic need with Maslow. Again, the issue only to me comes in is, that's great. You identify as that. Is that taking away from any other types of
from what's going on around you,
right?
In your immediate world of a circle,
right?
Yes,
and versus enhance it, right? Because it's sort of sad, and we talk about that grief, right? Like, I will never be able to go to another Jimmy Buffett concert again. Like, that's sort of sad to me because he's no longer here. They were just like a beach party. So it was about being with it. Like, yes, it's about listening to the concert, but it was more about the experience while you're there. And I know that was a big part of, you know, you going to
the Eras tour.
Yes, that just being part of that, that's huge. And yet that's not my entire identity. You what?
I was there for the fits.
You was there for the fits. And it was good. Loved it. Loved seeing you and Cam and the other girls enjoy that. Like that. And those are amazing experiences. But also, those were experiences that you were having
in real time.
In real time with your cousin and her friends and the things that you were doing as you're prepping and planning and going to it. It was something that you were doing with real people, going to this thing that was really big and international. So you felt part of it and so forth. And even now talking about it afterwards, those experiences are amazing. And yet I don't think you or your cousin believe that Taylor Swift has a relationship with you personally.
No. Maybe one day. But
maybe one day. And that'd be cool. Like
in real life.
Yeah. So you can be a fan, and that's that parasocial interaction versus, like be a fan, be great, and appreciate people for what they're doing. So what do we do? Like when does this become concerning? Like especially the way you're seeing it.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think it's concerning.
It's concerning.
I don't know when it becomes concerning, but it's concerning.
Well, and then
most of these people, we talk about the internet hate. Most of these people are attacking people.
So that's another one of those adverse things, right? Which is when
you feel so strongly about the person that you have this parasocial relationship with or these parasocial interactions with that you cannot accept any slander of their name of any kind. So
you're there defending them and got their back. And then you're criticizing anybody who says anything that may not be in support of that person. And where this becomes troublesome is especially when that larger celebrity personality is engaging in behaviors that's nothing that can be condoned, right? Like, hey, you did this, and that's not okay. And so we've had recent examples, I think just even the past week, right? The Tiger Woods, the DUI, the other situation that you were talking about.
Taylor Frankie Paul.
Yeah, the Taylor Frank. Yes, you've got that one. But then Chaperone. Like, there's been some very specific things that the behaviors of those individuals in that moment. And again, this isn't criticizing them as people or saying that they're bad people, just saying that what they chose to do in that moment is probably not excusable. Well, I'm not going to say probably. There are certain things that just are not excusable. And whatever was happening, not okay. So instead of requiring accountability of these individuals or just saying, hey, wow, not okay. Hope you're okay, worried about you, but not okay that you do this thing, like driving under the influence. Again, assuming any of these are accurate, we're not going to get into fact checking this or that.
But then I think now on social media, there's no hold them accountable. There's just cancel them.
Right. And but that's a whole nother thing that talks about skewed relationships, right?
Also, people make mistakes.
Right. That people can
let them learn from that instead of being like, oh, you're canceled.
Right. Because there's this thing called grace, learning. We actually, as human beings, learn from making things. And I worry, especially for this younger generation, that they're so worried about making mistakes instead of you need to live life, like try to make good decisions. There are some things that cause more problems than others, but you are going to say and do things that aren't always right. You're going to probably say some things that quite frankly are sort of being a jerk to somebody else. But hopefully when that happens, we're realizing like, ooh, what I said, that wasn't okay.
Yeah, but now it's like what you say and do will end up online.
And then it doesn't allow for
grace
or even context, because some of those things are taken out of context, right? What was said before, what led up to that. And if we're always taking these little snippets out of context, that would be a lot of pressure on these young people to constantly feel like they have to say and do the right things. And so then the response then, let me say and do nothing. So then you talk about that introversion of or internalizing behaviors of depression and anxiety because I don't want to say and do the wrong things because what if I mess up? And it's very fear-based, very shame-based. And so a lot of these things may be contributing to some of those mental health issues that people are experiencing. Like sometimes I wish that people could just sort of be kids or be teens and be silly. And
I wonder at what point there's just going to be a complete 180 flip and people are just going to stop recording everything.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Because I think that we are starting to see a little more of an intolerance for people posting everything online.
Yes.
Because like you can't have a normal interaction with someone without recording it.
Well, and even we've sometimes like at some of events, you know, like I would find myself taking lots of pictures or this. It's like sometimes I just like I want to put it down and just enjoy the event because if I'm trying to record or doing it, I'm not fully present. And there is something about just sitting there with the awe and just appreciating whatever it is being done that takes away from some of those experiences. Along with maybe less of a tolerance, I am seeing people are putting their phone, like talking about putting their phones down more, that intentionality, which would be great. And even you and I were talking about that
I set a time limit on TikTok today.
Yes.
It's down to 1 hour only because I need to go in and like my reels and make sure that they posted.
Yes. And I'm going to be doing some things intentionally. And even after we had that talk, I realized out of habit, I was slipping into my email. Like, did an email come through? I wasn't going to answer an email. Why do I need to see that? Because if
you don't, then you won't know that it's.
But I can check it when I'm going to, yes, because I do try to check it and get some things out of there so it doesn't get so backed up. But I think we're trying to be more intentional about that. The other thing that I wonder, and we're sort of watching this, but we're seeing some lawsuits about social media and the impact of children and what that may mean. We're also seeing countries ban the use of social media for children of certain ages. So I do wonder if there's going to be some different accountability for social media and safeguards for children, knowing how much this is influencing them.
Yeah. It's the U.S. That's not happening.
We'll see. We'll see.
Realistically, like I hate to say it, but
we're in capitalism. Money makes the world go round, right? And we see that, yeah, what 10-year-olds are wanting, that has huge influence in the market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this has been on my mind. So recently, so they get like this little wand thing and then you can put your credit card in it and then switch it on and then like tap to pay. It's a little wand. It's cool.
What?
I'm like, oh my God, that's cool.
I need a wand?
Yes. And then people online are like, you're so childish, grow up, da da da. And I'm like, okay, what happened to having fun and living life?
Oh, and they may be back there sitting in their little Harry Potter with their thing. Like,
okay, but then it like had me thinking, you know, our generation, like we love just like little character things, little have fun, like funsy things, you know?
Right.
But then you got the younger generations who are like 13 dressing like 28-year-olds. Like maybe you're the problem. The people who are like, oh my gosh, grow up. Like maybe you're the problem. Why don't you just let people have fun? And
people are so divided too, because they are probably like, oh, I want some of those.
Yes. So many people are like, yes, that's so slay. I want one. And other people are like, grow up, act your age. And it's like, no, let me have fun. Let me live the life that I want to live because life is short.
Right.
Yes. Anyways, I don't know why that came to my mind, but it's like, damn. Anyways, getting back to it. So one of the statistics I was really sort of blown away by
is that over half the adolescents are spending more than 10 hours a day on social media or on screens.
That's twice as much as I do, guys. I just want to throw that out there.
But that's just on social media. Wouldn't you say you're
you
on
said
your screens?
on screens.
On screens. So that would probably be laptops, iPads.
Okay, like 5 hours on my phone.
But
also, most of the kids are like only on their phone. They're not, those aren't like statistics for laptops and stuff like that.
I don't know. They're just saying screen time. So I would say probably video gaming. We'd have to delve deeper into that. But when you look at gaming, homework potentially on iPads or laptops, and then their phones, I mean, 10 hours a day is a lot.
I have a feeling you and I both do more than 10 hours.
I am certain I do more than 10 hours screen time a day.
Okay, but when your entire job is on a laptop,
and both you and I oftentimes have multiple devices going on at the same time. And I have multiple screens happening because a lot of mine is some deep work in research, just a lot of different things. It's a lot.
You see, I think that study was like more so looking at like non-productive screen time,
Potentially.
Because like work.
And it was adolescent specific. So they're not usually working.
Exactly.
And I would be, even if it did include some schoolwork, the fact that we have adolescents spending on average, 10 hours or more a day on screens.
Having them or allowing them?
Well, whatever, they're doing it.
Yeah. But what you just said is we're having them. On average, there's about 2 hours of homework every night.
And so then they're on their phone or their video games.
For another 8 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's allowing, not quite having them. So.
Yes, I would agree with you. And this then becomes, how do we set parameters around this, or what? I mean, I know what we did. Like we had certain times that we allowed it, but then also as you aged, then we allowed you more time with it.
I don't remember having parameters.
You don't?
No. But I do remember being outside, so.
We did a lot outside. Do you remember sometimes? This was one of like our old house. Like we sort of loved the old house because we could just shut down the electricity.
For the boys' room, not for mine.
Yeah, for the boys' rooms, like video games, like no. And then, because, they would sleep. And it's like, nope, we can shut down the whole Wi-Fi and electricity system that's going to yours without impacting the rest of the house. So that was sort of nice. You had a thought there. Like, we've scarred you in ways.
No, my room was fine.
Your room was fine.
That was the boys'.
But
But what did I do? I played with dolls.
You played with dolls.
I have a TV, but I didn't really have video games.
No, you didn't do video games. And we could always tell you did get grounded from the television. We could almost always tell too much Disney and Nickelodeon. The way you would start talking to us. I'm just saying. So yes, we would ground you because we knew where it was coming from. Go back and watch some of those shows you were watching and how they talk to each other.
Yeah, I have.
That either the parents were absent or they were treating the parents like bumbling idiots. Oh,
most of them were. Be so for real. Did you watch how those parents were portrayed?
But they were being portrayed as bumbling idiots instead of parents who were capable of parenting children.
Oh my God.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic. It didn't need to be brought up.
I think that's another. We'll go down that one.
Okay, whatever. I'm going to make you rewatch the shows and you tell me.
Yes.
Because that wasn't the issue. But okay.
Okay. And we're getting back on topic now.
Are we?
But I think that goes back to sort of that modeling, what you're seeing on there. Oh, and we were talking about the amount of time that adolescents were on screen time. The other thing is that came out of that was those adolescents I think it was like 63% preferred to watch influencers during that time. So they're not like watching a television show or watching
their social media.
They're social media and influencers. And we're hearing all these names. And sometimes I feel like I need to check them out, like especially when I'm working with adolescents and they're telling me these things. I try to stay up with it. I'm going to say stay jiggy with it and show my age. But I want to try to have a good sense of who they're talking about and what they're being influenced by. It's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah. What was I just watching? I don't know. I was listening to something or hearing something about how people would prefer to watch influencers now. Like they want that short form instead of the TV shows.
Well, and actually who was it? I'm thinking the actor, I can see him. He was in Ben Affleck's co-star, not Matt Damon, maybe. Matt Damon was talking about this, that actually in the scripts, they are having to repeat the plot multiple times because people's attention
and for those of us who don't need that, it's annoying.
Right.
It's like, okay, got that. Let's move on.
Yes. But people's attention span or how many things that they're doing while they're watching things.
How many times do you tell your husband, what did I miss? Wait, I missed that. Can you go back?
Yes. Because oftentimes
you're distracted.
I'm distracted. I'm usually there working, either working on a lesson, maybe grading something that doesn't require a great deal of intensity. It's sort of just some general stuff versus some of the intense papers and so forth. So I'll be like, so I'm sort of half listening. I know I am bad at that. And
so you are one of the people that is meant for. And I think that's exactly what I was talking about. I think that's what I meant.
I'm the problem.
No. I think that's what I'd seen about like the whole having to break things up and to get you had to keep their attention every so often.
And we're also seeing now that people are not willing to just watch 15 minutes or 30 minutes of something. I've got to see 5 seconds of you and get interested in those first 2 to 3 seconds to then want 10 seconds, to then want a full minute, to then want 5 or 10 minutes. And so forth. And so we're really seeing there's so much out there competing for your time and interest that it's almost like you've got to lead them to become interested.
I'd much rather watch TV instead of influencers, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know that I follow any influencers. Maybe I do. I'll have to follow.
I follow like a few. I follow less than 100 people on TikTok. Like I don't. And I don't think any of them are like big influencers because I don't care for that. Right.
There's people that I like to hear information from a professional standpoint.
I don't follow anyone that I want to hear professional from.
There's things I like because it's fun, like they make me laugh, and so I enjoy that. There's certainly health gurus that I like to follow to gain So yeah, there's certain people I like to follow to gain information, and there's a few people I like to be entertained, because they make me laugh or it's interesting.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know that. But are they influencers? Like maybe
micro influencers, maybe. There's different levels of influencers now. There's micro. There's nano.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that based on number of followers?
Yeah. Yep. Anyways, what are your takeaways?
My takeaways, I think it comes back to sort of saying the same thing over and over again. There's nothing in particular that's bad in moderation, typically. We want kids and individuals to be following sort of individuals who have moral or sound judgment. And if they're not, to then be able to distinguish between right from wrong, things like that. So there's nothing in particular that's bad in moderation, but what is it taken away from? And people need real connections with real individuals. And I think more and more with the social influencers, with the AI, with all these other things, we're in a real relationship scarcity. And when I do mean the word real relationship, these individuals who are coming and connecting, the imperfections of the individual and what we bring into a relationship and how we can learn and grow and be with other people. Mm-hmm. That's one of the pivotal things that we need. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are your takeaways?
Parasocial relationships are just weird.
Just weird.
Like, I get it, but, like, I don't get it. Anyways, I definitely think people need to put their phones down more and experience real life and be accepting of the no's. Put yourself out there. It's okay if you hear the word no. Make friends. If they say no, oh well, move on to someone else. You're going to find a yes. And it's a better relationship than whatever you're getting on TikTok. That's all.
All right. Bye.
Bye.